Hey, there I am. I was a ghost there for a while. Oh wow, we're getting hit with the questions already. Okay. Will Satan be upgraded at all? Do you mean like the actual Satan? Like I think that's kind of outside of my pay grade. Great to see everybody. I figured I keep working on these things, and I think that I do a little work while I'm off the streams, and I come back and I do them, and I don't know. I could stop if you want, but I figured maybe there were some people that wanted to like see this come along. Everybody keeps asking about a release date. I don't know. If it was up to me, it would be yesterday. Oh, that's weird. That's the microphone. Whoa! Thank you so much. Wow. I appreciate this. I don't expect donations here when we do this, but I really appreciate it when we do this, and all of this goes right into the development of the game. So I really appreciate it. We're hoping this year. Everybody is like, God, I wish you guys could understand it from our perspective. Like everybody is kind of in like a bad place, and this is like what they need to get them out of this bad place. So it's like a really big deal for all of us. So we're all trying really, really hard to get this out and to make it be really great. And if it is, it like fixes a whole bunch of issues that everybody's having in their life. Everybody involved. So like, one of the things I think about a lot when I do this is that, like you guys have made such a huge impact. We talked about this in one of the streams. Like you guys have made such a big impact on our lives, in ways that I don't think you could possibly imagine. And it feels weird to have your life be sort of like shored up by like millions of people that, like your stuff. Like it's like there's like this appreciation. It's like a big, like everybody's love and contribution to the thing changed your life significantly, like all of ours. But, and on some level we want to give this back. And we all need this to work. So we're all working as hard as we can. But there's always a balance when you're making a game like this, especially if you're an indie studio, between what you want to do and what you can do and what's practical. And you have to every day make those decisions that, is this worth working on versus this? Is this worth spending time in versus that? Arguably, I've spent a little too much time on the tombs, but I've been having fun with this. And like I said before, I always wanted to make CastleMiner dungeons. And I wonder if I can move this mic back a little bit. I always wanted to make CastleMiner dungeons, and like this is the more and more I work on this, the more and more I want to make either like a very cool dungeon experience in this, or to make this to spin this off into the actual CastleMiner dungeons. It was one that I really regret not making. It was fun. But anyways, so again, like I could not appreciate, like I think of the fans, like all the time, because I think about how different my life would be if it wasn't for you guys, and I'm super grateful about that every day. I've had a lot of corporate jobs in my life, and I don't fit in very well, and I think the rest of the guys kind of experience that too. And this has allowed me to have a level of creative freedom that most people never get, even in their career in video games, which can be kind of rough. So it's great. So let's dry all the eyes, bring the room back up, come back into the thing. Okay. We're back in the Dungeon Explorer. I did some work on this while you guys were away. I did some work on this. one of the things I can do right now, I'm thinking about, I might actually use this, is I can generate like really big dungeons now. Like here's an example of this. There's a couple reasons why I might want to do this inside of the game instead of generating little pieces, like generate like a giant 10 by 10 dungeon. Somebody's asking, whoa, there's a lot of questions. Let me see if I can run down these questions before we do this. Is CastleMiner, we talked about this in the last stream, is CastleMiner Warfare going to be remade too? Nobody liked CastleMiner Warfare, so I don't think we would remake it. I don't know of a way that we could. We thought that game was going to be so fun, and nobody liked it. And we tried shipping it on the Xbox and on Steam, and we were surprised because it was one of the games that when we were done, we were just like, people are going to love this, but they didn't. So I don't know what I would do to it now to make it interesting enough to have people be interested in it. Will there be traps in the dungeons? Probably. Somebody's saying going out to 3,000 for the first time was life-changing. That's pretty cool. One of these days, I got to do a video. I got to do a video on the Lantern Lands because the Lantern Lands is such a great like video game legacy bug. Somebody asked you if the game will be free. No, I'm pretty sure it will not be free. Yeah, everybody's expressing. I thank you guys. Like, there's so much great stuff in the comments here. Somebody asked here about the sounds. Everybody's so interested in the sounds. I'm going to keep most of the original sounds. I think I don't see any reason to replace them. We'll probably add a lot of new stuff, but most of the stuff, like the original music, will be there. The original sounds will be there. We'll just add more stuff. Spawn rate. Okay, somebody's asking about the spawn. Why this is? I didn't expect to get hit with stuff. Will the spawn rate of the mobs be the same? Yeah, I don't know yet. Probably. Like, I'm not looking to change that stuff. Somebody's asking here, will the Kickstarter backers get a free copy? I think that there'll probably be a tier. There'll definitely be a tier in the Kickstarter where you'll get a free copy of the game. I put the link to the beta list on top of the game too. Is that we usually give beta testers free copies of the game too. If you get picked for the beta, then you end up keeping the game for free. And then if people, I shouldn't say this because I'll get harassed, but usually if you run into me online somewhere, I usually give free keys away like crazy because it doesn't cost me anything to do that. Will the AIs of the mobs be better? I don't know. We haven't finished that yet. We're still trying to get this stuff. Somebody's asking about server capacity. We have not not done any of the networking yet, so I don't know. Somebody's asking, will the pathfinding the AI be better than the old game? I think one of the biggest criticisms we got of the game was it was too hard. And one of the reasons why the zombies jumped so high is so that they could get to you in the block terrain. So I should explain this. This is actually one of the challenging things about this is that usually in games the environments are like pre-made, so you can calculate pathfinding really easily. But it's a challenge to do pathfinding in a game where the world can be changing constantly. So we spent a long time when we first started doing the game trying to figure out how to make it fun, like how to make it challenging enough where it was difficult, but also to make it fun. And we did a lot of stuff with that. And that's one of the reasons why the zombies jumped so high, because we didn't want you to be able to build just like a little 2-foot high wall and then stop the zombies from getting to you. Like, they had to be aggressive. I actually thought we did a really good job of that, but apparently maybe we did not. Yeah, so somebody's asking about the progress of the game, the progress, how far we are in the game, and I said 30% done. This is an estimation. Like, I don't have like a list or a meter or a progress bar or whatever, but like there are kind of like big milestones, and we got the world building, and we got it up as I kind of like this background. It's like kind of 1970s. I should just explore. So when these get cut up for the shorts and stuff, I can, talk in front of this. Here we go. Here, I can do this. So we have like milestones, and the reason is because at each stage of the milestone, we want to know what's the game going to be like. Like we imagine it, and it becomes real. So the first stage for us was getting the world up in Unreal and seeing if it was beautiful. And it really is. Like, definitely. So we got to that stage. And the next stage was getting, like, block breaking and zombies and stuff in. And we're kind of, like, in that process right now. So we got some of the block breaking in. We're trying to get some of the effects in. We're trying to replace the enemies. So that's all the stuff that we're doing right now. When that gets done, it's going to be weird because the game is going to look like it's finished, but it's only going to be like half finished because after that is all networking. And the networking is challenging. I get emails from John every morning where he says that, he's super worried about this, but that's kind of like it's common for him. So not to say it's a very, very big challenge. Like what he says is that I actually don't even know if it's possible. So what'll happen is we'll get to a point where the game will be like half done, but it'll look like it's completely done, and we'll start the networking. And during that time period, we'll put like the visual polishes on, and then we'll get it ready for the Kickstarter, and we'll run the Kickstarter. And what they talk about here is that what happens is you build a game vertically. Like you build like one example of everything, and you get an example of how everything looks. And then you expand it horizontally. So you get one or two enemies, you get one gun in there, you get like, everything looks really nice. And then what you do is you go and you start to build all the stuff, like all the enemies and all the guns and all the animations. And that's when actually things get really expensive. So that's what we intend to use the Kickstarter money for. That'll determine like how much stuff we can put in the game. So as John is doing the networking at that point, we'll be spending the Kickstarter money on all of the different assets that we need to like pull the rest of the game together, and hopefully they'll all come together all at once. But that's generally the process. So it's kind of interesting because you get to a point where the game actually looks like it's almost done. Like it looks, but it's kind of an illusion. Like right now, it's kind of an illusion. Like you guys see it on the streams, but it's definitely not a game yet. But it looks like, the games don't. I think people imagine games like looking clunky up until the point where they ship, and it's usually not what happens. They usually look pretty good when they're about 30% of the way in. That was a long answer to that question, so I'm going to back up and see if I could address some of your stuff. Somebody asked here if zombies break the walls. You can go back to the game. They break some walls and not others. I remember that because that was another thing we wanted to do to make it threatening. We wanted you to have to build things out of stronger structures. Somebody's asking if the SMG is there. I haven't worked on the weapons yet, but I'm not planning on getting rid of it. Somebody asked about the craftings. We have not done the crafting. Somebody's asking about gunsmithing. This is something I'd like to do, but I think we would do it post-release. Somebody's asking about the Xbox avatars. Again, we've answered that a long time. No, the Xbox avatars will not make a comeback. No. Somebody's asking here if the beta will be single player only, and this is typically not how we do this. The beta will be the full version of the game. We're looking for real bugs at that point, not just like a single player beta doesn't do much for us. Like one of the big things we want to know is if there's networking bugs, because that's hard for us to find out. So the beta would be the whole version of the game. I'm thinking about doing, I should be careful about saying this. I'm thinking about doing like an early release to like very select people so that they could build things for us for videos. And that might be a single player game, but I almost like shouldn't say it out loud because I'm not sure if I'm going to do it yet, and it would be a very, very small group of people. Somebody's asking here about the dragons. I've played around with the dragons in here somewhere. I shouldn't say this. I've done some like experimented with some cool stuff for the dragons. I don't want to say anything out loud. But yeah, I mean, obviously the dragons got to look cool. Somebody's asking if there's microtransactions. Probably not. I don't know. I mean, no promises there. Like, I don't know that. Like, we're not building a design around microtransactions, so I think it's possible that we kind of had that on the Xbox with the codes, but right now I'm not really thinking about that. Beta release in July. Yeah, I would love this. It's the game has been going a little bit slower than I anticipated, but we're doing more stuff than I imagined doing. So, like, I don't know, you're going to see the progress as it comes along. I'll just keep doing this. Somebody's asking about the look of the character. We have not concentrated on the character at all. Everything in there is stand-in. Somebody's asking if it's a possibility of it coming out on PlayStation. Like, yeah, I would like it to come out on PlayStation. That's kind of up to them, not me. Somebody's asking about decorative blocks. I really want all the blocks in the game to have some sort of purpose versus just being, because it's not a building game. It's a combat game. But on the other hand, I've already put some decorative blocks in myself, like for like you'll notice in the dungeons that there's blocks in there that are not in other places. Somebody's asking if they want to replace they want to have the CastleMiner main theme. Yeah, they'll probably everybody's asking that, so there'll probably be some Easter egg or something with the main theme, or we'll work it in there somewhere. I'm hoping that when we have the final theme that you guys will really like that too. Okay, let me get into doing something here. Let's go back to the dungeon size that we were working on. And there was a couple things I want. Oh yeah, let's run the game here. I've got everything up here running, and so you can see, like, this is a rock texture. This isn't our rock texture. This is some sort of flooring texture, and then I put this in the ground. This oops, I'm underwater. I gotta take this water out of here. This ground texture was another one that I put in. This limestone thing, because I wanted the floors to look different. But we got if you haven't seen this in a while, we got the torches in. The lighting actually looks pretty good at this point. I got the hieroglyphs on the walls. They don't show up on all the walls. There's kind of like a mixture, and it's based on the rooms, actually, of the dungeon. So this dungeon, there'll be different types of dungeon. This dungeon will be under the pyramids in the desert. And there was a couple things I wanted to do. There's 3 things on my list that I wanted to do tonight. One of them is that if the room had no doors to it, I wanted to fill it with lava so it flowed out. And then I wanted to see if I could put door jams around the door, like mark the doors for door jams, which is hard to explain, but they'll all happen at the same time. And I wanted to put pillars in places, which is actually pretty easy. I might actually try that first, because the pillars should be a pretty easy thing to do. Pillars in the rooms should be easy. Pillars in the hallways is a little bit more difficult. But let's see if we could do that. Oh, and then put a compass in too. My face is covering the game. Well, okay, let's walk through all this. Yeah, I should probably, just for the same. Anyways, dungeons here. We got hieroglyphs on the walls. There's a new stone texture here, a new one on the ground. Those will probably stay in there. I want to put door jambs in and then some pillars in here. And we can say that I shouldn't have these narrow hallways. I thought I took that out. So that's kind of surprising to me. I'm walking through here faster than I normally would. Before we leave, let's just turn our lights off. Oh, we have our lights out. That's why everything's so lit up in here. Somebody asked here about the price of the game. I don't know. I mean, what do you think the price of the game should be? Somebody's asking if there's sound yet, and this is actually a funny question because sound is like the absolute last thing you put in a video game. It's like usually get the whole game done and then put sound in. Where that torch went. Okay. Let's see how some pillars look. Let's see if it adds anything to the game, because that's actually a pretty easy thing to do. So let's go back to our dungeon builder, and we will try putting pillars in there. So what I've been doing here with the dungeon builder is I've been doing this all in this little C# program in 2D, and then I use an AI that converts this back into Unreal after it's all done. It's just an easy way to keep the two code bases in sync. What I'd like is either to go through the rooms. Let's see, I've planned this out. To go through the rooms, and I think maybe pillars at like regular intervals, like dice, or maybe like one pillar in the middle of the room that's big. And I guess that we would do those separately. The one pillar is better, is easier than the little pillars. So let's do that one first. So we can go, there's a place here where I iterate over all the rooms. Yeah. Yeah, here. And we will make a function here called wow, that is this is interesting. It's Copilot, and it's a really like good guess. Let's try this out. Place a 2x2 pillar in the center of the room. Let's see what if the AI suggests for us. That's completely correct. Yeah. That is the beauty of AI programming right there. So let's just gonna do this in every room. And there we go. We have a big fat pillar in the center of every room. we could easily test this out now. So why don't we do that? Somebody asked here if we could use any of our original code in Unreal 5. So the short answer to that is no, because Unreal 5 is C++ and our game was C#, but we translated a lot of different stuff. I see a lot of talk here about keyboards. Is everybody, have people complaining about my clicky keyboard? Is that what's going on here? I should probably spend some time and read the chat. I have one of those like ultra clicky mechanical keyboards. I used to take the keyboards apart and put the rubber bands in them and stuff like that, all the spacers to get the feel just right of them and stuff like that. I'm kind of curious to see how this looks. This is a pretty small piece of code. This ended up being really simple, so I think I'm going to just translate this by hand. So I have to bring this into Unreal. So there is a, where is that? Try to keep everything in the same place. Yeah, so we can what do we call it in the other one? It's like place large pillar. There's a rectangle class rect here. Oh, there's some sort of decoration that we need for this. Okay. I am going to, where is there, I'm losing my train of thought here. Where is that code here? This is, everything takes a long time, like nothing ever is simple. I'm going to throw this through an AI just so I don't make any mistakes. Like this stuff is real simple. But it's time consuming if you make mistakes, and especially on the stream here, it's hard to concentrate on lots of different things at once. It was a... it's formatted. Ooh, wrong file. Wrong thing. This should be a constaff rec room. Is this is not how we make walls. Set room. Object. Oh, it is that object. Okay. I changed this today, so I'm like not familiar with my own code. This is dungeon object flags wall. Okay. And we changed the definition, so I don't like about C#. Is there a problem with, oh, XY with height? Okay. I should have just ran the whole thing through the AI. Okay, where the place where we go through all the regions, we can do this. We can just do a place pillar here. Place, large pillar, region. Let's save all, compile in place. Oh, thank you so much for the donation. Sorry, I haven't been looking here. Let me see if this works, and I'll run back through the questions a little bit. So let's go in here. And we should have... Oh, I got to take this water out. A big pillar in the center of every room. Cool. We do. Not sure I love that, but I think in a couple rooms it would probably be good. So we'll put those in rooms randomly. Cool. Yeah, somebody's saying there's pillars should be smaller. I think I'm gonna have two types, like one big pillar in rooms, and then I'm gonna have a bunch of small pillars in rooms, just sort of break up the area a little bit and try to make it a little bit more interesting. I have to come up with a strategy for doing it in hallways, which I'm not exactly sure. The cool thing is I could make the pillar, if I wanted to, I can make the pillars out of a different material. And if the rooms are too small, I probably should not put pillars in them. Like some of these rooms are just like too small for pillars. Just makes the area more interesting. And I could set them, if I wanted to, I could make them a different material. It's kind of cool that some of them have hieroglyphs and some of them don't. It's kind of just like a weird side effect of the Dungeon Maker. Cool, but it worked. Let me go through the questions in reverse order. Will that 5-second wind audio be in the game return? Probably not, because the weather system has its own sound, and there's weather in the game now. Was it hard to add water to the game? John did it, but from what I understand, it was hard. But we had already added water to CastleMiner Warfare, so we had worked through that a long time ago. What are your thoughts on the? Somebody's commenting on my Diet Coke. It's become like the joke of the streams. I have a serious Diet Coke addiction. If I told you how many Diet Cokes I drink in a day, you wouldn't believe me. Yeah, we're talking about the hot tub stream again. I said that I'm going to come up with some threshold that if we make it through the Kickstarter, I'll do a hot tub stream. What are your thoughts on the mods currently available for CastleMiner Z? I really think I'd love to see the community do stuff on the game, especially since it's been around for so long and they're still doing stuff with it. I think it's kind of cool to watch that. Somebody said something about the water at OG CastleMiner. There wasn't. The water in OG CastleMiner was like a different type of water. It was actually we took it out because it would have caused problems in CastleMiner Z. Okay. So let's try the next type of pillars. So let's do the let's do the same thing before, where we get the AI to make this to do this. Place. Is there some easy way to do this? I'm kind of curious. This ends up becoming like the prompt for the AI when you program like this. Place single 1x1 pillars in the room, evenly spaced, based the amount of pillars is determined by the room size. Okay, let's see what the AI does for us. I'm really curious to see what that looks like. It's one of these things where like this could just be like good enough. Yeah, it did not work. Okay, why didn't it work? I think the way to do this is divide the room in half until it's above a certain threshold. What did this do? It divided the room in half. Room into 3 unit. Divide the room dimensions by 3 units to get the number of pillars. To get the row and the of rows and columns of pillars. There we go. So I don't know what the key is to trigger. This is a Copilot. That doesn't look right to me, but I'll give it a shot. No. Where is that crash happening? Hold on a second. Is it where? Yeah, like we're getting. Okay. I have the worst spelling ever. columns is equal to width divided by 3. Yeah. Rows and columns. Yeah, that's actually really close to what we want, actually. I'm surprised that that doesn't work. Oh, there we go. I don't like that at all. Okay. The math is bad. We'll have to adjust that. Somebody's asking here an interesting question. Did we used to have concept art jobs that? No, we've never had a concept artist. A concept artist is sort of like a luxury of a really, really big studio. First of all, to pay an artist to just do concept art but not game art is definitely a luxury of a very, very big. We had them when I worked in AAA game studios. The other thing too is the luxury to like have somebody come up with like wild ideas and then you just implement them. However, is another luxury. And I mean, we've never been really more than a few like really core people, like a few people. We just have never had the luxury of, even when we worked, I think the biggest game we worked on was Savage Lands. That was there was probably 50 people working on that game. And we still didn't have concept artists there. Oh, somebody asked here, this is an interesting question. Somebody asked what studios I worked for, and I can spend some time and tell you my story about that. I started making games when I was 5 years old. My dad was an electrical engineer, and he taught me how to program computers, and I started making games immediately. And I had made a bunch of games for, like, this was like a really long time ago, for public access. I made a text-based adventure game when I was 6 or 7 years old. And that was probably in like 1982, something like that. And then when the 90s came around, I made what system? It was an MS-DOS game. And when the 90s came around, I was making games for like bulletin board services, and eventually I made a game that was like a clone of Mortal Kombat, which you can see on our YouTube channel. It's called Travelers. And after that, I started working with a partner of mine. I think I was 19 years old, with this guy who now runs the biggest in Chicago, the biggest arcade in the world. And I grew up in. It's kind of a cool thing. I grew up in the 90s, in that time period, when Mortal Kombat was being made in Chicago. It was like a really big deal, and there was a really like booming arcade scene going on there. And I actually had the luxury, and I could talk about this I had the luxury of working for John Tobias. Hey, thank you so much. I will totally, that one will go to Diet Coke. That one, I might have to run an ad here and get some more Diet Coke. And I had the honor of working for John Tobias's company, which was the guy who made Mortal Kombat. But we had made this Mortal Kombat game, and it got the attention of my friend, who was making one that was kind of like that. He's still making it, which is really interesting. There's a documentary being made about him called Ghost Lord and the Dark Presence, and I actually show up in the documentary about my friend. I'm going to see if I can... and it's about him making this game for over 3 decades. And and I'm in this. He was a very good friend of mine, and we were making a game back then. So what happened was I went away to college while I was working on this game, and I got out and I started working for FASA Studio. FASA Studio is the company that made the MechWarrior games. So MechWarrior 4 was the first game that I worked on, and it was a really like a high-profile AAA title, and I learned a lot and met a lot of really great people during that. And Hines, our art director, that's where I met him at that first job, right? So after working for after working for FASA Studio in Chicago for like 3 months, Microsoft came in and bought the company, and I moved out here and I worked for Microsoft for several years, shipping MechWarrior 4, and then they got rid of me, and I worked for the next company I worked for was a company called Edge of Reality in Texas, and I shipped a Pitfall game and the game for the movie Shark Tale. It was like a Will Smith underwater animated movie. And then after that, I took a job back in Chicago working for John Tobias at his company, which was called Studio Gigante. And I have some great stories about that place. But it was really cool to work for the Mortal Kombat guy, who was kind of like a hero of mine. And I have a funny story about when I cornered him in an office and I tried to get secrets about Mortal Kombat out of him, because that time period was so amazing and magical. The Mortal Kombat machines, like, you had to go and play them in places, and they had all these secrets. So it was like these mysterious boxes that had all these secrets, and there wasn't like a really good internet at the time, so it wasn't like all the secrets were on the internet, but it was just all like rumors. So I cornered him in his office, and this was like in 2005, and asked him about a bunch of secrets about the game, but he said they were all lies, basically. Yeah, basically the big thing I have is I swear that I saw a Kano transformation happen in an arcade, and there's a old we were in Chicago, and there's this rumor that it was actually in there and it was taken out, and my friend Doc, who runs the Ghost Lord, the arcade, has a gym where he has all the Mortal Kombat people, all the actors. And you could go train with like Sub-Zero if you want to, or Jax and Sub-Zero. I know it's like Jax, Sub-Zero, Milena. They're all there. They all hang out at the arcade that's in that area. And he has this gym where they all work out. But the Kano guy filmed for for Mortal Kombat 2, and it wasn't there. I thought I saw it. So anyways, I cornered John, and I was like, "What? You got to tell me the real story about the Kano transformation." And he said, "No, it's not in there." So I just looked like a crazy person. So I'm trying to think. After that, I went back into Microsoft research, and I worked on children's products for a while, and then I started a startup with Microsoft where I ran a startup where I was doing a bunch of children's games. There's a game called It's a Bitsa out there. It was a children's game that we made, which is cute. It was a drawing recognition technology game. And during that time period, I started doing the Xbox thing. And then that kind of took off, and then one thing led to another. So that's kind of like the story of where I was in the AAA game industry. Somebody's saying they played MechWarriors on Windows 7. I think MechWarrior was like before Windows 7. MechWarrior 4 was the... Somebody's saying they played games from Signal Studios. We worked with Signal Studios on Savage Lands. These pillars, they need to start in more, so this is an easy thing to do, but I think this might actually screw up the code. Yeah, and we just don't want to put the last ones in, I think. Yeah, this is like to make these. This is no good. This is no good. I can see the spacing. I just don't like in this in a room like it doesn't work in like any of these rooms. So really, we want like the spacing to start 2 in. I think, which means we subtract another 2 from the thing and then divide by. Wow, there is like some serious lightning out here, and I have a window open, and I need another Diet Coke. I'm gonna run an ad, and I will be back in like 30 seconds here, and you can listen to some. And if you pay for YouTube Premium, you can listen to what's the song we're playing today? Built to Survive. From the soundtrack, if you do. So I will be back here in about a minute. Everybody, hang on. I swear I'll be back. Okay, everybody back. Got fresh Coke. Somebody's asking here about a band I've never heard of that band. Somebody's mentioned here the playlist. I want to throw this out here on our channel. I'm going to actually put the link together. There is a playlist. If you play it, it's like loaded with ads. It'll play as many ads as YouTube will let me play for you. And it's just a way for you to contribute to the game without having to really do much. So if you play the thing, it's like a 28-hour playlist. It's like, it's ad revenue for us. It's not really clear to me how much ad revenue this is. I did some initial calculation. I thought it was going to be amazing, but I haven't really seen a result of that yet. So this is good. So somebody's asking, am I actually on here? Somebody's asking if I do I have a certain brand of gelatin for joint recovery? And I don't know if you are aware of this, but I blew up on TikTok making Jello a few years ago, I don't no, I don't. I just use Jello brand Jello. That's the I was taking that the Vital Collagen or first for a while, but I didn't. It didn't agree with me. So I thought, why if Jello was more fun? Like, why would I not? That's actually how I started the whole Jello thing, because I was like, this is stupid. I would rather make Jello and eat it. And then I started making art out of the Jello. And then that became a big thing on TikTok. Man, there is like a serious storm. I don't know if you guys can hear it. There's like a serious storm going here. And I'm in Seattle, and that's kind of like an unusual thing for us. Okay, old Coke out. New Coke. Let's do this. This is way too many pillars. We need like 2 rows in a place where there'd be 3 here. So there's a couple different things that we could start with. First of all, is we want to reduce the width and height of the room. Is really going to be the height minus, I think, 4. And that's the width is 4. And we're going to take the effective height and the effective width and divide by those. And we should get less columns, but they won't be placed in the right place. So let's run that. This is probably... I don't know. See, I would think this we would get 1 row here. Yeah, that's probably right. And these are just spaced too much. So now we just have to space these out. Just start with that. This is one of the I hate, like, it's these are such boring things. Oh, these are interesting questions. I don't know if you hear the thunder. Can you guys hear the thunder? It's totally crazy. They were warning everybody about leaving your car out today. Somebody's asked here if I always lived in Seattle. No, I grew up in Chicago, and I came here right after the grunge. It was like right around the year 2000, like after the grunge, and it was a weird feeling because you could like experience that like grunge had just kind of ended. But the joke that we had because we all came from Chicago because Microsoft bought the company, and the big joke we had is that grunge had ended everywhere else, but not here yet. I don't know if you guys, you're probably not old enough to remember what it was like, but it was like what happened is in the 90s, like grunge just like took off like crazy, and then just like people got sick of it. And I remember there was a documentary I saw on Kurt Cobain where they said as soon as they saw like grunge clothes in like, you know, J.C. Penney's, they knew that the grunge thing was over with, and it just died so quickly. And we went from like grunge to Backstreet Boys like overnight. But when we came here, we were all laughing because everybody was like, it was like they were still in the grunge phase here. I feel like there's still people think it was like a thing, but if you go out now, it's like there's still grunge people around. Like it was just the status quo. It's just how people like are here. It's funny. But no, I haven't lived in Seattle my whole life. Just I moved here when I was like 20, something like that, and I was back and forth different places. But I've been here since then. I've been here for a long time. What's my reasoning for Diet Coke versus Coke Zero? I don't know. I just like Diet Coke better. Like I just don't. I can't really explain it. I think people, if you're into one, it's. Somebody's asking here about making the hieroglyphs bigger. It's a really interesting question because I can make them bigger. It's actually really easy for me to make them bigger. But the problem is that they repeat every block. So the bigger I make them, the more it'll be obvious that they repeat. And I tried to find a balance between the two, so it was not so obvious that they were repeating. Okay, let's see. Well, we can do here. So we're reducing the width and height of the room so we could squeeze the pillars, and we want to make sure that we start them. Actually, what we want to do is take like the leftover and divide that. I don't know. This would be like a really good task for AI to come up with something like this. This is like surprisingly. I think what we want is the pillars always have 2 spaces between them, which really means that. Like I'm trying to always have a piece of. I should show. I probably shouldn't show you this because there's probably passwords and stuff on it. I always have a piece of paper next to me that just has tons and tons of scribbles, like little dots and like little notes and stuff here. So I'm always scribbling here because I haven't really found a good tool to do this with. But if we take this room, there's probably always 2 spaces between every pillar. So really the effective size of a pillar is making little X's and O's here. Two, three, four. Yeah, it's like, let's see here. I'm trying to figure out like a math equation for this. I'll do this on the screen to show you this. Like, hold on a second here. I got to do a little bit of okay, like if like here's our room, and let's say we have like no space, pillar, no space, pillar. Actually, you know what? Is maybe we should have 1 space in between. That actually makes it easy. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's really 4 per 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's really the space divided by 4, and we just add 2 in there. This is so ridiculous. This is something I should be doing off the stream because it's like, this is not a hard problem, but it's hard to do when you're on the spot. Somebody's asking here if we have an FAQ for the upcoming CastleMiner Z. The Discord channel they maintain a pretty good FAQ. I should make an FAQ video. I've been trying to put that together. Somebody's asking if I drink Diet Coke and Jägermeister. I don't drink. I've never drank. Like ever. I mean, I've like tasted alcohol before. You know, like I've had a drink here or there, but I don't like it, and I just never got into it. And somebody's saying don't start, and I could tell you that there's a couple. I am just like a couple months away from 50 years old, and I can tell you there's a couple life hacks. I can tell you there's a couple life hacks that you can do. One of them is don't drink. It solves a lot of your problems. And don't smoke. Definitely don't smoke, because that will mess you up. And then like stay out of the sun, like either sunscreen or just straight up stay out of the sun. And you can avoid so many problems if you do that. God, I hate when this happens. I end up losing the chat window. Okay, sorry guys. I'm going to run an ad while I refresh and get the chat window up. Sorry to do this to you. Yeah, we're down. There's a lot of people here discussing just, overall health. I'm in really, really good shape, like, especially for my age, but, like, just in general, really good shape. And, like, I would definitely recommend, like, whatever age you're at, like, work out every day. Like, I'm in the gym every single day. And then my diet's on point. So it's like... and there's this thing where, if you fix your sleep, your diet, and exercise, it's like 80% of your problems will go away. So I'm telling you, like, if you live a life where you, like, sleep well, exercise, work out every day, and you don't drink and you don't smoke, it's like you will just, like, feel like you're young forever. Okay. So, beef Wellington and Diet Coke. So I drink a ludicrous amount of Diet Coke, and then the beef Wellington is in there, a little bit of that in there too. Okay, so let's just, you're right. Spacing from the wall. I think it's weird. What happens though is you get in a situation where you're like, I'm trying to think. We have, and then there's like 3 here, and it's not really obvious what to do. But even that isn't that bad if the spacing is correct. But I think dividing by 4 is the right thing to do, and I think that'll actually get us most of the way there. Let's try that first. God, I feel bad doing this because this just seems so boring to me. This is one of these things where I would sit down and think about it, or I'd run it through an AI and tweak it. Okay, we got the, we're just not doing it right. 4. This would probably... What you need to do is you need to space it more, and then just make sure that it's centered the right way. Like this one with the 3. Let's actually just try it doing 5s. Let's not do this. I'm thinking about if you just get them spaced well enough and then center them, actually is probably... Yeah. This is probably what you want, and you probably want them to be centered. And the centering is easy, so we could do that. Man, we're going down this like workout rabbit hole. I would love to do this. I'm like big time into fitness. And I wasn't my whole life. So like, the big thing is that you should just do something every day. Like just get used to doing. It's like it's like a David Goggins thing where he talks about doing something that sucks every day. Somebody's asking if the Dragon AI has been tested. There is no Dragon AI yet. We are not anywhere close to Dragon AI yet. So let's divide these, and then basically we want to center. So it's going to be this is an interesting computer problem here. I should probably get it to work before I start bragging about it. It looks to this code doesn't look to like it makes any sense because we're just dividing a number by 5 and then multiplying it 5. But it's all integer math, so the number that you get out of this won't be the same as it comes in like regular math. And then we want to do is split the difference. So actually, that's not true. Going back to our little diagram, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we have 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think that's what we have. And then the next one starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we want the distance between these two. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I guess it's the I think it's what. So rows and columns times 5 minus 4 for the outsides. This is so ridiculous that this is taking so long. Like I was going to do more on here than this. And then the position here is going to be whatever this is. Columns divided by 5. It's the yes, it is the no. This the width minus the column size over 2. Yeah. And this doesn't have to be perfect either because, well, we should get it as perfect as we can. Because this is going to like crash. Oh, there's the columns are up here. This is so funny. That was a mistake. This is room left plus top plus. At least it's very. This is why I have this tool. Okay, something's wrong. We're running over edges here. This is kind of surprising to me. Is it just 2 by 2? God, I hate to do this whole stream like trying to work out this stupid math problem, but it would be interesting to figure out how to get this right. I wonder if I could just do... This AI claims that this is the way to do it. I don't believe it. This is interesting. I should go through this. I'm doing this with Grok, and Grok is explaining to me how to do this, and I'm going back and forth with it to try to get the right solution. So in this case, we would remove the column that is close to the wall and center the pillars. I'm guessing this algorithm is actually probably a little bit more complicated than it's going to end up being. I don't know if this really constitutes as vibe coding. Let's try this. Okay. So I'll just copy the code here, drop it in my It's kind of fun to code with AI like this. Okay, run this. This is now more complicated than I would like to figure out here. And I can just take a screenshot of this and run it back through. They're not centered. I think you are not well, whatever. They are not centered, but you figure it out. So it's going through different strategies of doing this, and Grok is actually really good. So what I said this before. I was just working. I just started a AI startup, and I was really deep in this for a few months, and it's interesting how this stuff changes so quickly, because OpenAI has kind of always been the leader in this, but Grok has very recently just sort of taken over and gives much better results. This would probably be fine. I'm trying to think of what's going on here. 1, 2, 3. I can zoom this in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Diet Coke Jello. It's funny. I was thinking about making some Diet Coke Jello. Somebody was asking about the Jello brand, but I always have a lot of plain Jello on hand because I needed tons of Jello to make those Jello things for TikTok. I'm going to go through another turn of this or so, and then I don't know why it's generating images for me. That's interesting. I've never seen it do this before. It's like fixing the images and not the code. That's so funny. I need you to correct the code, not the image. Is this like the Super Grok? Yeah. I'm wondering if I'm running into like a problem here that is actually a tough problem to solve, because this code is getting more and more complicated, which surprises me. I wish I had a grid, because I feel like these things could totally, like this can totally be centered. Okay, I'm going to do one more rev, and then I'm probably going to stop doing this. And I'm going to go offline, look and do it the old school way for real. The soda discussion here is hilarious. Pop rocks and Jello. That's actually a good idea. I'm just gonna. It's kind of difficult to run the stream and then to like have to do one of these like pixel left, pixel right kind of issues, because they usually end up taking a long time. And this thing is. See, this can be, these all could be pushed one over. Like, there's no reason that they need to be in these places. It's only one. And if you had this here, there could be two pillars. I think I have to come up with a better strategy of doing this. And I'm not even sure I like this. I'm not even sure that I like these grid pillars here. Why don't we just put 4 pillars in the room? That's a better, much better. This is actually going to probably be a better look to things instead of having lots of them. And that's easy because the 4 pillars, I'll have Grok do this because it's so fast to do. Let's abandon this. Let's put 4 pillars in the room. Just make sure they are all in the corners, but 2 units away from the wall. Somebody's worried about me stealing their Jello ideas. Yeah. And this code is really simple. Just was too lazy to write it. Okay, let's just replace this. Here's what we'll end on a high note. We'll get this in the game. Oh God, it's like they did it wrong. Okay. Three plus 3 minus 3 plus 3, 3. Why, that doesn't even make sense. Yeah. This is what we're looking for. This actually probably looked good. And the double pillars actually are not that bad either. I'm gonna go with this. Okay, so let's do let's throw this in Unreal, get it running, and then we will put it in our dungeon. And I think I'm probably gonna stop at this point. I thought I was gonna get more than this done. What's the easiest way to do this? Let's call this corner pillars. One of the things I could do here with the AI, just to speed this along, is I could say, now do the C++ implementation. Hmm. I corrected the code. I should have. Let me do a rename. Trying to keep these in sync. Rename. See how Grok's doing. Yeah, I'll have to correct its thing here, but that's fine. We'll just drop this over into Unreal. Change all these to 3s because that's, I don't know why it thought that was the right way to do it. Save all. Let's go to the place where we put them in. Take the big pillar out, save all, and let's see what that looks like. I still got the water in here. I gotta take the water out. So here's a room with corner pillars. I think in rooms narrow like that, it's not great, but nothing wrong with it. Let's look in some of the other rooms. It's cool. I mean, I think I'll probably go with that. Find a smaller room. It's not going to be in every room, so... This stuff is, I thought that working in these dungeons would be like really, really easy, and it's turning out to be a little bit tougher than oh, whoa! Another donation. Thank you so much. I'm reading their comments about the Jello. There should be some Jello in the remaster somewhere, like just to close the loop on everything. And this is a room with the big pillars. Kind of like it. I don't know. I kind of like it. I gotta get rid of this water. We can't actually. There's a lot of problems with water underground like this. So, like I was asked today to take the water out of the underground. And this is a room with a big pillar. You know what I'd probably do is just take the big pillars out. Because this actually, there's a lot of natural variety because of the size of the rooms. I wonder if it's possible to have a room that's small enough where this would cause a problem. It doesn't really matter that much. Yeah. I think I might just go with this instead. So that's good. I'll clean this up. I'll make it so they appear randomly in the rooms. And you'll just see them every once in a while. It's cool that every once in a while they turn into, again, like they turn into hieroglyphs. The other thing too with that code is I can do other stuff too. I could put, I could turn the pillars into other things if I want to. But I actually think this is probably the right implementation of this. Okay, I'm gonna run one more ad here before I leave for the sake of the game, and I'm gonna do the thing where I'll answer all the questions when you guys come back from when I come back from the ad. I'll answer all your questions. So cue them up. and we'll listen to some of the soundtrack while we do that. Okay. Let's see what we got. Stream is not over. Like what we've been doing here is I'll run some streams and hopefully you guys can queue up your last questions before we head out here. Somebody asked an interesting question up a little higher. I was going to say this. How long was the development for the original CastleMiner Z? And is it harder to do it now or then? This is kind of an interesting story. I think, to be honest, the original CastleMiner Z we made in like 6 weeks. But that doesn't consider a lot of things. CastleMiner 1 was done already, so we were just adding basically to that code base. And the very first CastleMiner Z, thank you so much. Thank you again for the donation. The original CastleMiner Z didn't have a lot in it, and we did updates for like 10 years. So the one that's on Steam was really the result of updating the game for like 10 years straight, but it was really fast. This is way, way harder for a lot of different reasons. One of them is that none of us are, except for John, is familiar with using Unreal, so we're all learning this as we go along. It has to look really, really good. We can't just like put anything in and fix it. And then there's an expectation that everybody has about what the game is going to be, so like we can't like take like 30 or 40% of everything, take half of everything out and ship it. So this is actually way tougher than it is, and it's bad because I kind of sold it to everybody as like a 6-week project. I was like, back in December, I was like, let's just put this together in a couple months and get it out by January, and then work on the other game that we had already started. There was another game we had already started over the summer. So but everybody seems really, really excited about this, which makes it easy for us to work on. And then again, somebody's saying, how long is it going to take to finish up? Like, I don't know. It's going well. It's going quickly, and it's like everything that's coming out is looking really good. Like consistently, I look at everything and I go like, wow, that turned out really good. That turned out really good. So as long as that keeps up, we'll keep it up, and I'm hoping by the sometime around the end of the year, we'll be done. A lot of times you'll work on, not a lot of times, but sometimes you work on a project, and as it's going on, you're like, man, this is not working. Like this is no good, and it's a hard thing to quit. Death Toll was like that. Like we were doing Death Toll, and it was like we just kept running into problems, and it just was not turning out good. But this has been more difficult than I think that I even knew it was going to be difficult. So thank you for the donation. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, I don't come here looking for donations, but I definitely really appreciate that. And I share this with the rest of the team. Like I tell them, because they don't. I don't think they watch the streams, but I'm like, you can't believe it. It's like people come in here and give donations, and I think that's amazing. Do you think there'll be a gore system as a mod or a feature? I guess a good question to you would be, do you think that the gore would add a lot to the game? It definitely will change the rating of the game, which affects actually a lot of different things, because it affects streamers and stuff like that. So in general, for the games, depending on the game, I don't know. Like if it adds something to the game, I think that if you ever saw the game I made for the Xbox One, the Digital DNA Zombies, like there was a lot of blood in that game. But it's got to add something to the to the game. I'm not against it. I'm a huge horror fan, like a huge horror fan. But it's gotta and then especially horror games too, like Resident Evil games are some of my favorite games. Will you be able to move to the Xbox platform? Will CastleMiner Z make it a play on the PlayStation? Unreal lets us really easily put the game on Xbox and PlayStation, which wasn't the case with our old engine. But being on there requires them to let us be on there, so we have to go through that process with them. What hardware do I run on my personal PC? Let me remember. I have a... hold on. I'll dig around. I'll find my specs here. Just give me a second. I don't know. I gotta dig around on my PC. I'm just gonna pop to the title screen for a second. Didn't know what was going to pop up on my screen when I started going through stuff. Thank you for the donation. It's not hard. Somebody said here that it's hard to deal with you guys. It's not hard. It's a pleasure to come here and do this. It's hard to do both at the same time, but that's why I work independently outside of the streams. I try to find things that are going to be entertaining to watch on the streams, but I definitely appreciate everybody coming here and watching this stuff, and it kind of amazes me that people want to sit here and watch me program. But yeah, I have an Intel i9 100. What is it? The 14,900 KF, which is a I mean, I don't know. It's a lot of cores. Here are the cores on the computer. What is this? I have 128 gigs of RAM, and I have a I think it's a 4060 NVIDIA 4060. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it says in here. So yeah, in general, we have really powerful computers to do game development. Because games don't run very well when they're being developed. So you kind of do that. And and then I have two M.3 SSDs that are in a RAID 0 array, so that I/O is ludicrously fast. So yeah, two of those, the ones that stick into your motherboard, two of those together in a RAID 0 array. Oh my God, thank you so much for the donation. Thank you. Somebody's asking whether zombies have more detail. Absolutely. We're in the process of rebuilding of replacing the enemies. Everything in there is stand-in. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. You guys are so generous. I could not appreciate this more. Somebody's asking about the price for release. I asked you guys earlier on what to pay. I don't know. I don't know. And will we release in beta? Definitely. We have a link to the beta on top. You can sign up for a chance to be in the beta. And typically the people who we have beta tests get the game for free. Will the dragon have new details? Yeah, we're gonna definitely use new dragons in the thing. The old dragons were pretty old school, clunky. Okay, I think I'll take like what is it, like almost 9 o'clock here. I'll take one more, one or two more questions, and I'm gonna go here. I feel bad leaving after you guys have donated so much. What are the costs? This is a good question. What are most of the costs that come from game development? This is a really interesting question, because when you're doing, so I was in AAA game development before, and one of the really interesting things about AAA game development is like developing the game is like 20% and 80% goes into marketing. This obviously isn't true for indie games. Like a lot of the marketing is sort of like you guys basically, but a lot of it goes into art. Like it's if you need custom art done, that is definitely the most expensive thing to do, it's hard to account for, because like engineering would be a lot, but like there's a lot of engineers on the team, so that's something that we do in house. But if you have to do more and more art, you have to do. Somebody says, is there a way to look at the new world in Unreal? I should really do this because I've been stuck in these dungeons for a long time. I'll flip back over to the world, and I'll answer the rest of the questions while I'm flying around in the world. And where is the world builder? I have to turn the world back on. I have it. My dungeons are kind of hacked in here. I should probably get these done and move on to something else at some point. Okay. Yeah, let me... Let's do a quick build. Whoa, okay, we're hitting a lot of stuff here. Yeah, and we are here in the new world. And I'll just, what I'll do is I'll just keep my finger on the thing here while whoa, it's going to be hard to do that. I wonder if I just let go. Does he keep walking? No. Okay. Oh, I guess I know. Oh my God, huge donation. Thank you so much. God, I just can't, I just can't appreciate this possibly anymore. Somebody's planning if we keep on planning on keeping the AI generated music or other assets or placeholders. Okay, so here's the deal with that. Is that the thing that I talk about all the time is that oh, I should get my head out of the screen here. Is that when we're a small team like this doing things, everything we do, every dollar we spend, every hour we spend on something comes out of something else. So if you choose to do one thing, you have to get rid of something else. We don't have access to a there's a lot of musicians on the team, but if we started making music, the game would come out 2 years from now. There's a lot of solutions for this that are expensive. So the thing that I said is that if the Kickstarter gets funded, we'll replace all the music. But there'll be a mixture of new music and old music in the game. By the way, none of those vocal tracks were ever intended to make it to the game. They were all for promotional stuff. Okay, let me make sure I get to everybody here. Yes, there's a lot of questions. Is there a way for us to, I don't really understand the question. Is there a way for us to look at the world in Unreal early? Oh, you want like a preview version of the game. I'm thinking about releasing a early beta version of the game, but if there'll be very few of those, if anything. It's because it would be a very, very unfinished version of the game. Somebody's asking about how many beta testers we're taking, and I don't know that answer yet. I just know that we give priority access to people that have been really involved in the community, and then in the order that people sign up in for the most part. Somebody asked to put in plans for character customization, and that's, again, if the game is received well, we'll do that. And then they're talking about the donation, which was amazing that they got the donation. This is really great. So back to the music. Somebody's talking about the music again. Back to the music thing. The only tracks that were intended to go into the game are the instrumental tracks. The other ones were just kind of done for fun. A lot of it I need backing audio for YouTube videos. So for me, it was a way to do... to kind of put a bunch of like fun songs together in one place. I thought it'd be a fun thing to do, and to put it on Spotify. And when we play our backing tracks for YouTube, people usually ask where they can listen to the backing tracks. It was all in one place. If we get funded in the Kickstarter, I'll replace the instrumental music in the game with we have a top tier. It's the people who make the backing tracks for like the Avengers movies and stuff like that. We've worked with them in the past. It's just very, very expensive. So I would rather spend that money making like enemies than, buying, audio tracks. But it's something that we're working on. And somebody's asking here if there's windows added to the game. I'm not sure yet. There's some issues with glass, and it's I would have to do like a separate stream to explain what the ups and downs are doing. And he was asking, what are we doing with the character models? We've been talking about what to do with the character models, but we haven't done any work on them yet. Okay, so I think I'm gonna do. I'll take like 1 or 2 more questions, and I'm gonna get going. Any idea when the beta is ready? No, I don't. And are we going to add giants? I don't have any immediate plans to add giants. Thank you very much. Definitely thank you for the donations. This was like sort of like a impromptu things. If you guys want me to do more of these, I'll keep doing them. If you keep showing up, I'll keep doing them. Again, really appreciate the donations. I want everybody to have a good night, and thank you very much.